Okay, so we're finally on to the pattern part of it, and the pattern I've used is McCall's M4769. And just ask them about the sizes at the store you're gonna need, because it all depends on, you know, how big, small you are. And so that's the dress. It's obviously gonna need some modifications, but let's get started. Okay, so I'm here and I have all the pieces cut out, and I have two here for an example because there's a couple things that you are probably going to get really confused over or easily screw up your pattern. So I'm just going to explain this. If you have any questions about anything I don't cover, just kind of message me or something and I'll be happy to reply. So right here it says cut 2, and that basically means pretty straightforward, but if you don't understand, it means you basically overlap the fabrics, overlap the two pieces, same fabric, and you put the pattern on top and you just cut, and that'll give you double of the exact same fabric, exact same pattern. So then we have over here, this is a teeny bit trickier, and it says cut 2 unfold, and that basically means that's the fold right there. It's not separated, it's all joined, and so when you unfold it, it'll be like that, and it's all together. And so you'll be able to put the pattern here, and you'll be able to flip it. And that's basically what it means. And this part's actually for the collar, and so you're going to need to double that too. But just make sure to read the pattern, and it'll tell you how many to do. So yeah, and the last thing I want to cover is shortening the size properly. So if you're really small and you have to go to the smallest size, there's a spot right here that I've taped actually. I've taped, and it's just this little box. So basically you fold the fabric over, you fold it over on the line, and then you fold it up towards the dotted line and tape it, and it'll shorten your pattern correctly. And so it'll have everything match up again, but it's basically for if you're a smaller size like me. So let's move on to sewing, I think. So this is the final dress once it's complete. It's fairly easy to do. I mean, the instructions are kind of hard and not very straightforward, but yeah, it's fairly easy actually after we got everything straight. We had to search up a few things, but it's pretty good. But so you can ask me on any parts you're stuck on, and I'll be glad to help you, because it was too hard. It would be too hard to film sewing the whole thing. I mean, we pulled an all-nighter and just barely got this done, and I had to finish it this morning. And so just one thing, I kind of ignored this part. It might tell you to like finish the bottom, but what happened was we made the dress very short. I underestimated it, and so that we couldn't roll this up. It would be way too short. So it's perfect now, but so the edges wouldn't fray. We just burned them basically, and so they're just charred and burned. And I personally think it gives it a nice look. And so now we're going to be moving on to the next part. Yeah. Okay, so now we're on to staining the actual dresses again. So it's just like the hat, except the dresses. And yeah, so basically we're about to do that, and we're just waiting for the water to boil. So we have a couple bags of English breakfast tea in here, 3 to be exact, and we're about to start the dyeing process, and yeah. Okay, so I suggest you test it with a test piece of fabric, because if you do the wrong color and you can't get it out, well, that sucks. So, putting that in, and then we're going to mix it around a bit. Choose how long you want to leave it in for. And so you just take it out every once in a while to check how it looks. And remember that after it dries, it'll be a lot lighter, as we experienced with the hats. So you can let it sit there for a bit, and then check it every once in a while. But you want to get pretty dark, because when you take it out, even if it looks like rustic and you take it out, it'll be like almost white when it dries. So yeah. Okay, so now we have the dress in the pot, and you might want to get a pretty big pot, because there's not much room. And so we're just basically soaking it, doing the same thing we did with the test fabric, and same thing with the hats. And so yeah, now we'll just wait for this to be done. Okay, so this is the dress, and we're dyeing it now. And basically, I forgot to mention earlier that the pattern also says to use buttons, but we're using Velcro, or we're going to use something that hides, because nurses, the dresses from Silent Hill don't usually have buttons. And so, well, this is us dyeing it, and we found that two things work. Tea and coffee, actually. Coffee, you can't leave on as long because it makes it pretty dark. And so, I'll show you what coffee kind of looks like. And just on this little spot right here, we'll dump some coffee. And we can let that wait for a bit, but you don't want to let it too long with coffee because it'll dry pretty fast. And then you just dab it off, and you have yourself a stain. So I've done that with the whole dress, but don't have too much coffee grinds in it, or else it'll be too dark, and you don't want that. And so that's basically how you dye the dress. Same thing as the hat, really. So yeah.